I get why you're hesitating. You've probably seen a dozen food warm-up cabinets on Amazon, each promising the perfect balance of heat and chill, and you're thinking, do I really need to spend this kind of money? Or will it end up just gathering dust in the back of the kitchen? The last thing anyone wants is to buy a piece of equipment that sits unused because it doesn't fit the workflow, or worse, because it can't keep food at the temperature you need. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. So let's break down what the Cambro CMBHC1826LC191 actually does in a real-world setting, who will get the most mileage out of it, and where the drawbacks might make you look elsewhere. First, think about the environment you'll be using a holding cabinet in. The Cambro is a low-profile, thermoelectric unit that runs on standard 110-volt power, which means you can plug it into a typical restaurant prep room or a large home-based catering kitchen without needing a dedicated circuit. The thermoelectric technology is quiet, no compressor hum that could distract a busy line cook or a catered event where you're serving a room full of guests. That quiet operation is a real plus if you're setting the cabinet in a visible service area or an open-concept kitchen where noise matters. What really sets this model apart is the way it circulates air. The louvered panels are designed to move heated or chilled air gently but evenly, so plates sitting on different shelves don't end up with a hot spot on the top rack and a cool spot on the bottom. I've seen this be a problem with simpler cabinets where food on the upper shelves gets overcooked while the lower shelves stay just above safe temperature. The louvered design on the Cambro mitigates that, making it a solid choice for large trays of entrees that need to be served buffet-style or kept hot for an extended shift. The built-in solar-powered digital display is another thoughtful touch. It reads in Celsius, which is a minor inconvenience if you're used to Fahrenheit, but the key benefit is that the display is powered by a tiny solar panel, so the cabinet's power draw stays low. The thermometer lets you glance at the exact temperature without opening the door, which in turn preserves the internal environment. The self-venting cap on each door is also handy. When you're steaming a tray of vegetables or a pot of soup, the cap releases steam without you having to yank the door open, which would cause a temperature drop and waste precious heat. Now let's talk about the practical strengths in a day-to-day scenario. Imagine you're a caterer preparing a multi-course dinner for a corporate event. You need to keep a couple of trays of roasted vegetables warm, a separate batch of a creamy sauce chilled, and a dessert that benefits from a gentle heat. Because the Cambro can switch between hot and cold modes on the same unit, you can load hot plates on one side and a chilled dessert on the other without buying separate pieces of equipment. The internal shelves are adjustable, which means you can fit a standard half-size hotel pan on the bottom and a couple of smaller sauce containers on the top. The convenience of menu clips on each door means you can tape your plating instructions or a prep schedule right where you can see it, saving you a trip to a clipboard. On the downside, the low-profile design, while great for saving floor space, also limits the overall volume compared to taller cabinets. If you're running a high-volume operation that needs to hold dozens of trays at once, you might find yourself needing a second unit or a larger freestanding model. The thermoelectric system, while silent, generally doesn't pull the temperature swing as fast as a compressor-based unit, so it's best for holding food that's already close to the target temperature rather than bringing a cold dish up to serving heat in a short time. In other words, you'll still want to preheat or pre-chill your food before placing it inside. Energy efficiency is a buzzword that often hides a cost, but with the Cambro's thermoelectric tech, you'll see a modest power draw that won't spike your utility bill, especially compared with a traditional refrigeration-type cabinet. That said, because the unit runs on 110-volt mains, you need to ensure the outlet you use is dedicated or that the total load on the circuit can handle the extra demand, particularly if you have other kitchen appliances running simultaneously. Who should definitely consider this cabinet? Small to medium catering businesses, private chefs, or even a dedicated home chef who does regular meal prep for a large family will find the balance of hot-cold flexibility and quiet operation a real asset. If you run a food service operation where you need a visible, low-noise holding solution in a front-of-house area like a buffet line or a banquet hall service station, the Cambro fits nicely without drawing attention away from the event. The menu clips and digital thermometer add an organizational layer that's often overlooked but makes a difference when you're juggling multiple dishes.